The quantum engines of the TNS Hyperion hummed beneath Commander Maya Harrison's feet as she stood at the bridge, watching the swirling purple nebula ahead. 20 years of deep space exploration had taught her to trust her instincts, and right now, every fiber of her being screamed that something was different about this sector. "Commander, we're picking up unusual energy signatures from the center of the nebula," Lieutenant James Rodriguez reported, his dark eyes fixed on the holographic display. "It's like nothing we've ever seen before." Maya brushed back her silver-streaked black hair, a habit she'd developed over decades of making difficult decisions. "Show me the readings." The hologram expanded, filling the bridge with a cascade of data streams. The energy pattern pulsed in an almost rhythmic sequence, defying natural phenomenon. Maya had seen her share of space anomalies, but this was deliberate, a beacon calling out across the void. "Chief Engineer Patel, what's your analysis?" Maya called over the ship's comm. "It's artificial, Commander." Kira Patel's voice crackled through the speaker. "The energy signature contains embedded data patterns. We're trying to decode them now, but the complexity, it's beyond anything in our databases." Maya's decision was already made. They hadn't ventured this far into uncharted space to turn back now. "Helm, take us in." Standard approach vector, shields at maximum. As the Hyperion glided forward, the nebula's gases parted like a cosmic curtain, revealing something that made Maya's breath catch in her throat. A massive structure floated in the void, a lattice of dark metal and crystalline formations that seemed to absorb and redirect the nebula's light. "Life support readings?" Maya asked, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Detecting an atmosphere inside the structure," Rodriguez confirmed. "Temperature and pressure within human sustainable ranges." Before Maya could respond, the ship's AI, interrupted with unprecedented urgency. "Commander, I'm detecting a transmission. It's integrating with our systems." The bridge lights flickered, and suddenly the holographic display transformed. Symbols unlike anything Maya had ever seen danced through the air, gradually morphing into recognizable patterns. It was a translation matrix, building itself before their eyes. Status, Maya demanded. "The alien program is non-hostile," Araya reported. "It's teaching us their language." Hours passed as the crew worked to understand the message hidden within the alien artifact. Maya refused to leave the bridge, watching as humanity's first contact with an alien civilization unfolded through streams of data and mathematical patterns. Finally, Araya's avatar materialized, her expression grave. "Commander, I've decoded the primary message. It's a warning." The hologram shifted again, showing a visualization of galaxy-spanning destruction. Mechanical entities, vast beyond comprehension, moving between the stars like a plague of locusts. The Void Hunters, as the message named them, had already consumed countless civilizations. The builders of this structure, they call themselves the Nexari, Araya continued. "They've been watching us, evaluating humanity's potential. They believe we might be strong enough to help them fight back." Maya's grip tightened on the railing as she processed the implications. "How long?" "Based on the data, the Void Hunters will reach Earth's sector within 6 months." The weight of billions of lives settled onto Maya's shoulders. This wasn't just about exploration anymore. It was about survival. She thought of her daughter back on Earth, just starting her own career in the Space Force, and all the other families who had no idea what was coming. "Send a priority message to Fleet Command," Maya ordered. "Then prepare a first contact protocol. If we're going to survive this, we need to learn everything we can about these Nexari." As if in response to her words, new energy signatures flared to life around the structure. A ship emerged from the nebula's depths, its design as alien as the structure itself. Its hull seemed to flow like liquid metal, yet it moved with precise grace. "Commander," Rodriguez called out, his voice tight with tension. "They're hailing us." Maya straightened her uniform and took a deep breath. This was the moment that would change everything. Humanity's first direct contact with an alien species, born not from peaceful exploration, but from the shadow of an approaching apocalypse. "Open the channel," she commanded. "Let's meet our new allies." The hologram shifted one final time, revealing a being that defied Maya's expectations. The Nexeri representative appeared almost crystalline, with faceted features that caught and reflected light in mesmerizing patterns. Its voice, when it spoke through the translation matrix, carried both hope and desperation. "Children of Earth," it said, "we have watched you grow, hoping you would be ready when the time came. That time is now. Will you stand with us against the darkness?" Maya met the alien's gaze, knowing her next words would echo through human history, if humanity survived long enough to record them. "We will stand with you," she replied. "But first, tell us everything we need to know about what we're facing." As the Nexeri began to share their knowledge, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of a story that would either mark humanity's greatest triumph or its final chapter. The next few months would test not just their technology and military might, but the very essence of what it meant to be human. The Grand Chamber of the United Earth Council buzzed with tension as holographic displays showed the approaching Nexeri delegation. 2 weeks had passed since the Hyperion's discovery, and now humanity faced its greatest diplomatic challenge. Commander Maya Harrison stood at attention beside Admiral Chen, watching the massive doors slide open. The Nexeri representatives entered, 3 crystalline beings that seemed to float rather than walk, their bodies refracting light in hypnotic patterns. Leading them was Sentinel Prime Khazar, the same being who had first contacted Maya's crew. Behind the aliens came a contingent of Earth's highest-ranking military and political leaders. The Void Hunters have already consumed 17 civilizations in the Andromeda Galaxy. Khazar's translated voice resonated through the chamber. The holographic display shifted, showing worlds being systematically stripped of life and resources. They are not merely destroyers. They are harvesters of consciousness itself. Admiral Chen stepped forward, his weathered face grave. "Commander Harrison's initial report mentioned your people have been fighting them for centuries. Why come to us now?" Khazar's crystalline form pulsed with what Maya had learned to recognize as emotion. "Because your species possesses something unique. Adaptability. We've observed how quickly humans learn, how creatively you solve problems. The Void Hunters operate on pure logic. They cannot comprehend or counter true innovation." Maya noticed the subtle shifts in the room's atmosphere as the implications sank in. Humanity's greatest strength might not be its technology or military might, but its capacity for unpredictable thinking. "Show them," Khazar commanded, and one of his companions projected a new hologram, detailed schematics for weapons and defensive systems far beyond current human capability. "We offer an exchange," Khazar continued. "Our technology and knowledge for your tactical insights and warrior spirit. The Void Hunters expect logical responses. We must become unpredictable." The next hours blurred into a marathon of technical discussions and strategic planning. Maya found herself working closely with Dr. Kira Patel and an Nexeri engineer named Ixtel, whose liquid crystal appendages moved with incredible precision over the holographic interfaces. The integration of Nexeri quantum matrices with human AI systems could revolutionize our combat capabilities, Kira explained, her eyes bright with excitement. Araya's adaptive algorithms combined with their processing power could give us an edge they won't expect, Maya finished, watching as Araya's avatar interacted with Nexeri data streams, evolving and adapting in real time. But not everyone embraced the alliance with open arms. General Marcus Walsh, his face set in permanent lines of suspicion, voiced what many were thinking. "How do we know this isn't an elaborate trap? These beings could be leading us into annihilation." Khazar's response was unexpected, a sound like crystalline laughter. "If we wished to destroy humanity, we need only have waited for the Void Hunters to do it for us. We choose to stand together, or we will certainly fall alone." The truth of those words hung heavy in the air. Maya remembered the terrifying images from the artifact. Entire civilizations reduced to empty husks, their essence harvested by the mechanical horrors that now approached their galaxy. As the council debated, Maya received an urgent message from the Hyperion. Lieutenant Rodriguez's face appeared on her personal display, his expression tense. "Commander, long-range sensors have detected something. The Void Hunters, they're moving faster than we predicted. We have 4 months, not 6. Maya's blood ran cold. She interrupted the council's discussion, sharing the update. The room erupted in controlled chaos, but she noticed something interesting. Human and Nexari representatives immediately began forming working groups, focusing on solutions rather than panic. Admiral Chen took command of the situation. "We need to accelerate the integration of our forces. Commander Harrison, you and the Hyperion will lead the first joint training exercises. Show us what human and Nexari cooperation can achieve." The next weeks passed in a blur of activity. The Hyperion's crew worked alongside Nexari engineers to upgrade their systems. Maya watched in amazement as her ship transformed, crystalline technologies merging seamlessly with human engineering. The sight of human and Nexari crews working together, overcoming vast differences in biology and thought processes, gave her hope. Khazar joined her on the Hyperion's observation deck, both of them watching as the first joint fleet assembled in high Earth orbit. Human vessels, angular and powerful, maneuvered alongside the flowing, organic shapes of Nexari ships. Each species had already begun learning from the other. Human ships now incorporated crystalline sensor arrays, while Nexari vessels displayed more aggressive weapons configurations. "Your people learn quickly," Khazar observed. "Perhaps too quickly. Some among my kind fear we give you too much power." Maya turned to face the alien leader. "And some of my people fear the same about you. But fear can't drive our decisions now. The real enemy is coming, and we need to be ready." An alert sounded throughout the ship, another training exercise beginning. Maya watched as human and Nexari fighters executed complex maneuvers together, their formations drawing on both species' tactical doctrines. Each successful operation strengthened the alliance, but time was running out. "We're rewriting the rules of warfare," Maya said, more to herself than to Khazar. "The Void Hunters won't expect our species to work together like this. They won't anticipate the combinations we're creating." Khazar's crystalline form shimmed in agreement. "Perhaps that will be enough to save us all. But remember, Commander, the greatest battles often reveal themselves to be different fights than we expected." As if to emphasize his cryptic warning, a new alert flashed across the Hyperion systems. Long-range sensors had detected unusual energy signatures at the edge of the solar system. The Void Hunters had sent scouts ahead of their main force. The time for preparation was over. The real test of their alliance was about to begin. The void between Neptune and Uranus erupted with light as the first Void Hunter scouts emerged from quantum space. Maya stood on the Hyperion's bridge, now transformed by the marriage of human and Nexari technology. Crystalline displays merged with holographic interfaces, showing the approaching enemy in terrifying detail. 3 biomechanical vessels, approximately Dreadnought class, Lieutenant Rodriguez reported, his fingers dancing across the crystalline console. Their energy signatures matched the Nexari records, but these seem different. Khazar, who had chosen to remain aboard the Hyperion as the Nexari liaison, moved forward. His crystalline form pulsed with concern. "They've evolved since our last encounter. The Void Hunters adapt to every civilization they consume. The enemy ships were massive constructs of dark metal and pulsing energy, their surfaces constantly shifting like liquid mercury. They moved with an organic grace that belied their mechanical nature, spreading out in a classic pincer formation. All ships, battle formations, Maya commanded. The joint fleet responded immediately. 20 human vessels and 15 Nexari ships, moving in perfect synchronization. Months of joint training were about to be put to the ultimate test. "Enemy vessels are scanning us," Araya announced, her avatar now streaked with lines of Nexari code. "They appear to be analyzing our combined fleet configuration." Maya allowed herself a grim smile. Let's show them something they've never seen before. Execute Operation Chimera. The fleet split into seemingly chaotic groups, but there was method in the madness. Human destroyers paired with Nexari light cruisers, their complementary weapon systems creating overlapping fields of fire. The Hyperion, now equipped with Nexari quantum shields, took point position. The Void Hunters struck first. Beams of corrupted energy lanced out, targeting the fleet's apparent weak points. But the defense patterns they encountered were unlike anything their logical systems had encountered. Human unpredictability enhanced by Nexari precision. Direct hit on enemy Vessel 1. Rodriguez called out as a combined barrage from 3 human Nexari pairs struck home. The Void Hunter ship's liquid metal hull rippled, trying to adapt to the unknown weapons configuration. But their early success was short-lived. The enemy vessels suddenly shifted, their forms literally evolving in response to the attack. New weapon ports emerged, firing streams of nanitic particles that began eating through both human and Nexari shields. They're learning faster than we anticipated, Khazar observed, his crystalline form dimming with concern. Each attack we launch teaches them more about our capabilities. Maya watched as 2 human frigates succumbed to the nanitic assault, their hulls dissolving into space. The sight steeled her resolve. Then we need to stop teaching and start surprising. Area. Initiate Protocol Omega. The AI's avatar smiled, a very human expression on her increasingly alien features. Throughout the fleet, hybrid AI systems began implementing attack patterns that changed randomly every 30 seconds, coordinated through quantum entanglement. The Void Hunters' logical systems couldn't predict what even the human and Nexari commanders didn't know was coming. Energy spike from enemy Vessel 2. Rodriguez shouted, "They're targeting our command ships." The attack came not as energy or projectiles, but as a wave of corrupted data. Maya watched in horror as 3 Nexari vessels suddenly went dark, their crystalline systems overwhelmed. Khazar stumbled, his own form flickering as he felt the deaths of his kindred. "They're not just trying to destroy us," Khazar said, his translated voice thick with pain. "They're trying to absorb our consciousness, our knowledge. This is how they truly feed." Maya made a split-second decision. All ships shut down quantum communications, switch to old-style radio and human targeting systems. We're going analog. The order caught the Void Hunters off guard. Their data warfare suddenly found no purchase in the simplified systems. The joint fleet's response was devastating. Salvos of human nuclear torpedoes guided by Nexari precision. Too primitive to be hacked, but too accurate to be avoided. The first enemy vessel burst apart in a spectacular explosion, its liquid metal form freezing and shattering in the void. But as it died, it broadcast something. A signal that made all the Nexari beings in the fleet recoil in horror. "Commander," Khazar said, his voice urgent. "That signal, it contained fragments of consciousness. Not just Nexari, but others. Dozens of species, all consumed, all trapped within the Void Hunters collective." The revelation hit Maya like a physical blow. They weren't just fighting machines. They were fighting tombs, filled with the stolen souls of countless civilizations. The war had just become infinitely more complicated. The remaining enemy vessels retreated, jumping into quantum space with an efficiency that suggested they had gathered exactly the data they wanted. Victory, but at a terrible cost. As damage reports flooded in, Maya turned to Khazar. "You knew, didn't you, about the consciousness absorption?" The Nexari leader's form rippled with what might have been shame. "We suspected, but we feared if we told humanity the full truth, you would hesitate to destroy them. And we cannot hesitate, not if either of our species is to survive." Maya looked out at the battlefield, where rescue ships were already moving to collect survivors. The alliance had held, but trust had been shaken. And somewhere out in the darkness, the main Void Hunter fleet was coming, now armed with fresh knowledge about their combined capabilities. "We need to know everything," she said firmly. No more secrets, because next time, it won't be scouts we're facing. Khazar's response was interrupted by a priority alert. Long-range sensors had detected new quantum signatures, massive ones, approaching from multiple vectors. The real war was about to begin, and they had less time to prepare than ever. The emergency meeting aboard the Hyperion crackled with tension. Maya stood at the head of the conference table, surrounded by both human and Nexeri leaders. The holographic display showed the approaching Void Hunter fleet, hundreds of ships, each larger than the scouts they'd faced. They'll reach Saturn's orbit in 72 hours, Admiral Chen reported, his face haggard from sleepless nights. Our outer defense lines are ready, but after what we learned in the last battle. You mean after we learned what the Nexeri kept from us? General Walsh interrupted, his voice sharp. Those ships are filled with captured consciousnesses. We're not just fighting machines, we're killing victims. Khazar's crystalline form pulsed with defensive energy. We made a tactical decision. The burden of this knowledge isn't yours alone to bear. Maya cut in. We're supposed to be allies. Every secret between us is a weakness the Void Hunters can exploit. The meeting deteriorated from there. Maya watched as months of careful alliance building threatened to unravel. But something else nagged at her, a pattern she couldn't quite identify. She noticed Dr. Patel quietly analyzing data in the corner, her expression troubled. After the meeting, Maya found Kira in her lab. The chief engineer was surrounded by holographic code sequences, both human and Nexeri. "Commander," she said without looking up, "something isn't right." "Show me." Kira pulled up communication logs from the last battle. "Look at these quantum signatures. The Void Hunters didn't just attack our ships. They were searching for something specific. And someone was searching back." Maya's blood ran cold as she studied the data. Hidden beneath the chaos of battle, there had been a two-way conversation. Someone in the fleet is communicating with them. "Worse," Kira said. "Based on these patterns, they'd been doing it for weeks. Someone knew they were coming before we did." The revelation sent Maya racing through the ship's corridors, Khazar floating rapidly beside her. They'd reached the bridge just as new alerts flashed across the screens. 3 ships from the joint fleet, 2 human, 1 Nexeri, had broken formation and were moving toward the outer system. "Traitors," Khazar hissed, his crystalline form clouding with rage. But which side? Both sides, Maya realized. "Computer, show me the crew manifests for those ships." The data confirmed her suspicion. Each vessel was staffed with specialists in consciousness transfer technology. Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice crackled over the comm. "Commander, we're detecting unusual energy readings from Jupiter's orbit. Some kind of construction." The main screen shifted, showing a massive structure taking shape in space. Void Hunter technology merged with hybrid human Nexeri design. Maya recognized components from both their species, twisted into something new and terrible. "It's a consciousness transfer array," Khazar said, his voice hollow. "Large enough to capture and store millions of minds. They're not trying to destroy our fleet. They want to harvest it." Maya's mind raced. The betrayal went deeper than anyone had suspected. Those ships that left, they're not running away. They're running toward something. They made a deal with the Void Hunters. "Preservation through submission," Khazar agreed. "They believe that by helping harvest our forces, they'll be allowed to survive, their consciousness preserved rather than consumed." The bridge crew watched in horror as the structure continued to grow. They had less than 3 days before the main Void Hunter fleet arrived, and now they faced enemies on multiple fronts. "Commander," Araya interrupted, her avatar flickering with uncertainty. "I've detected a coded transmission from Earth. General Walsh is mobilizing forces without council approval. He's convinced the Nexeri planned this from the start." Maya slammed her fist on the console. Everything was falling apart. The Void Hunters hadn't needed to defeat them in battle. They'd planted seeds of discord and waited for fear to do their work. "Send a message to all loyal ships," she ordered. We're not letting them tear us apart. Not now. She turned to Khazar. Your people need to make a choice. Real alliance, total transparency, or we all die separately. The Nexari leader's form pulsed with multiple colors, a sign of intense emotion. The Void Hunters offer a false choice, survival through slavery or death through defiance. But perhaps there is another way. Maya leaned forward. What are you thinking? The consciousness transfer technology, Khazar said. We've been viewing it as a weapon. But what if it's also a weakness? Every mind they've absorbed is still there, still aware. If we could reach them. A new alert blared through the ship. The 3 rogue vessels had begun powering up weapons. Behind them, the transfer array crackled with energy, ready to begin its grim harvest. And beyond that, the main Void Hunter fleet approached like an oncoming storm. Maya looked at her crew, human and Nexari working side by side, their differences forgotten in the face of crisis. They had 72 hours to prevent both a civil war and an invasion. But first, they needed to understand exactly what they were fighting for. Khazar, she said, tell me everything about consciousness transfer. No more secrets. No more half-truths. If we're going to save everyone, including those already trapped, we need to know what we're really facing. The Nexari leader's response was interrupted by a massive energy surge. The transfer array had activated early. As alarms blared throughout the ship, Maya realized they might not even have 72 hours left. The consciousness transfer array loomed before the Hyperion like a dark star, its energy tendrils reaching out across space. Maya watched as the rogue ships took defensive positions around it, their weapons primed. Behind them, the Void Hunter fleet approached, a wall of liquid metal and stolen souls. Khazar's theory is sound, Dr. Puddle reported, her fingers flying over the crystalline controls. The consciousness matrix holding the harvested minds is complex, but not impenetrable. If we can broadcast the right frequency, we can wake them up, Maya finished. Give the trapped consciousness a chance to fight back. She turned to Khazar, who hovered nearby, his crystalline form pulsing with determination. But we'll need to get close, very close. The Nexari leader's response was interrupted by Araya's urgent announcement. Multiple quantum signatures detected. The Void Hunters are accelerating their approach. Time to intercept, 30 minutes. Maya straightened her uniform. Send the signal to all loyal ships. Operation Awakening begins now. The joint fleet moved with precision born from months of training. Human vessels provided cover fire, while Nexari ships wove complex patterns through space, their crystalline technology generating interference fields that confused enemy targeting systems. Enemy ships responding, Rodriguez reported. The 3 rogue vessels are moving to intercept. Maya watched as the battle unfolded. The rogue ships fought with the desperation of those who had abandoned all hope except survival at any cost. But they faced crews who fought for something greater, the principle that life, in all its forms, deserved freedom. Transfer array is powering up. Kira's voice was tense. They're trying to harvest the entire fleet at once. Maya felt it, a pulling sensation, as if her very thoughts were being drawn toward the massive structure. Around her, both human and Nexari crew members staggered under the psychic assault. Now, Khazar, Maya commanded. The Nexari leader's form blazed with light as he interfaced directly with the ship's systems. The Hyperion's hybrid technology responded, broadcasting a signal that Khazar's people had been developing in secret, not to fight the Void Hunters, but to free their victims. The effect was immediate and devastating. The transfer array's energy field flickered as thousands of trapped consciousness began to wake. The Void Hunter ships shuddered, their liquid metal forms rippling as the minds they had harvested fought for control. It's working, Khazar announced, his translated voice strained with effort. But they're resisting. We need more power. Maya made a decision that would either save them all or doom them completely. Araya, Initiate full integration with Nexaris systems. Give them everything we've got." The AI's avatar smiled, a genuine human expression. Before dissolving into pure energy, the Hyperion's systems surged as human and Nexari technology achieved perfect synthesis. The consciousness-freeing signal amplified 1,000-fold. Space itself seemed to scream as the Void Hunters' carefully maintained control shattered. From within their liquid metal forms, lights of varying colors began to emerge, the freed consciousness of countless species choosing oblivion over continued imprisonment. Multiple hull breaches detected in enemy vessels, Rodriguez reported, his voice filled with awe. They're tearing themselves apart from the inside. The rogue ships, realizing their mistake too late, attempted to flee. But they found themselves caught between their former allies and the very forces they had tried to join. The transfer array, its power source disrupted by the escaping consciousness, began to collapse in on itself. "All ships, fall back," Maya ordered. "Get clear of the array's gravity well." But the Hyperion's engines wouldn't respond. The power required to maintain the consciousness-freeing signal had drained their systems. They were being pulled toward the collapsing array, along with several disabled vessels from both sides. Kizar's form flickered weakly. "Commander, Maya, it has been an honor." "The honor was ours," she replied, watching as the freed consciousness continued to stream past their viewports, each light representing a soul choosing freedom over eternal imprisonment. "But I'm not done fighting yet." Lieutenant Rodriguez, emergency power to engines. "No response," he reported grimly. "We're caught in the collapse." Just then, a new voice came over the comm. General Walsh. "Hyperion, this is the Defiant. Preparing for emergency tractor lock." Maya watched in disbelief as Walsh's ship, which had been approaching to arrest them all, instead moved to rescue them. Other ships from the fleet followed suit, human and Nexari vessels working together to save as many of the trapped ships as possible. The transfer array's collapse accelerated, taking with it the last of the Void Hunter fleet. Their liquid metal forms crystallized and shattered, releasing their final prisoners into the void. The threat that had consumed so many civilizations had been undone, not by superior firepower, but by the very consciousness they had tried to enslave. Hours later, Maya stood on the Hyperion's observation deck with Kizar, watching repair ships move among the survivors. Araya's systems were slowly rebuilding themselves, forever changed by the merger with Nexari technology. "We lost many today," Kizar said softly, "but we freed many more. Generations of consciousness, finally at peace." Maya nodded, thinking of all they had learned about trust, sacrifice, and the true meaning of alliance. "And we proved something important, that different species, different ways of thinking, can come together to overcome even the greatest threats." Perhaps, Kizar's form shimmered with what Maya had learned to recognize as hope. That was the real victory today. Not just survival, but evolution, growth.